Happy Friday, scholars. Welcome to your lesson for today. We will be starting with shoutouts and quiz results. So time for shoutouts. These are the friends who Mr. Cody, Ms. Hendricks, and I were just really impressed by their displays of our core values throughout this week. All right. So these scholars who we're about to name showed a ton of hard work this week. According to Ms. Hendricks, they consistently came to office hours and attended reteach when they were invited. They took pride in their work, and they were checking in with her during office hours to make sure that they were doing everything they needed to do. So we are going to give a round of applause to Brent, Jeremiah, and Isra. These friends showed a lot of hard work, and they will be getting points for it. Now we have the friends who showed a lot of achievement. These scholars consistently have been doing well on both the daily practices and the quizzes. So not only have they been doing their work, they've been doing their work correctly. And if they have any questions, if they were checking their work and they had a question, they make sure they reached out to teachers, for example, they were sending private messages to make sure that their answers were correct, or they were attending office hours just to double check. And so these friends from Hadley were Charles, Owen, Miguel, and Van Don. We've just been so impressed how you guys are consistently getting your work done and doing it very, very well. All right, from Maryvale. Mr. Cody wanted to give a shout out for enthusiasm for the following friends. According to Mr. Cody, these scholars were super engaged in both reteach and office hours, and they were working really hard to get their work done. He was impressed with their hard work and their enthusiasm as they explained their thinking and their strategies during reteach, how they were evaluating their friends, and really explaining why they were choosing to evaluate that way. And those friends are Dwayne, Angel L, and Joseph Gomez. So really impressed with your enthusiasm there, my friends. And my Maryvale friends who are getting some shout outs for achievement. These scholars, like the ones I talked about before, they're consistently doing their daily assignments. According to Mr. Cody, they're earning 9 out of 10s or 10s out of 10s on every single assignment every day. They're doing well on quizzes, and they're asking for questions when they need help. They're coming to office hours. They're sending private messages just to check to make sure that they know what's going on. That shows a lot of core value of achievement. So we're going to give shout outs to Alex L, Daniela, and Angel G. So these friends, they're getting some claps, they're getting some whistles because they're absolutely rocking and rolling it. Let's give a spicy meatball cheer to these friends who are getting core value shout outs and definitely some points in Vista Virtual. Ready? Spicy meatball, ready, go. Mwah, mwah. That's a spicy meatball. One of my favorite cheers. Alrighty, so these were our results for the quiz we took yesterday. As you can tell, there's a lot of red happening here. And we're going to talk about why I think some of that might have been happening, other than the fact that we just clearly need to continue working on this. And it's super, super important that we continue to be watching the videos and doing our work. Because just over half of us, that means most kids only got about half of questions correct. However, we did have some friends really rock and roll, and definitely were showing some of those core values of hard work, self-determination to check their work, and achievement. This is your leaderboard or your wall of fame. All right, so our 100% club, we had Owen, Miguel, Keelan. They all got 100%. They were really rocking and rolling when it came to taking this quiz. Our 90% club was Jeremiah and Brianna. That means they only missed one question on that 10-question quiz. Super great job there. In our 80% club, looking pretty great there. We have Daniela, Juan C, Levi, Alexander L, Charles, and Charlie. That means they only missed 2 questions. Quite a few of us, as we can tell, need to be really making sure that we are acting like these friends here and checking our work, doing our assignments each day, and really making sure that we are rocking and rolling. Most of the friends up on here, if not all of them, are friends who are doing every assignment every day, who are asking questions, coming to office hours, coming to reteach to really make sure that they are learning what they need to know. So we are going to give a Texas cheer for these friends. Ready, go. Yeehaw, because they absolutely rocked and rolled. So now let's discuss maybe some things that went into this amount of red. So when I first saw our results on that quiz, I was a little bit confused because I was like, kids have been doing super, super well this week. But I noticed some things in the answers that people were giving me to sort of show me that maybe we need to be double checking and reviewing some things. So these are some of the common reasons that people got questions wrong. So people were not giving me a complete answer. For example, in a lot of the questions, instead of telling me the fraction, people just wrote what would go in the numerator. And I was excited because I was like, oh my gosh, normally finding the numerator is the tough part. Normally kids will just like count and they'll only tell me what's in the whole. But y'all were being a little sneaky or maybe a little silly, and you weren't telling me the full fraction. So if the fraction was 1/2, you were telling me 1. You were just counting the pieces. We weren't counting for the denominator though. So we need to make sure that we are writing a complete answer. Another trend, people were not taking their time. Fun fact, your teachers can actually tell how long you spend on an Illuminate assessment. And I know in the classroom, I definitely make sure that we are taking our time. And when we take our time, it allows us to check our work. It allows us to make sure that our answers make sense. And a lot of us are not taking our time. Remember, there is no time limit to these, and it's super duper important that we are genuinely trying our best and we are taking our time to work through questions. Because here's the thing, me reminding you to double check when your double check is like, yep, checked it, done, that's not helpful. You double checking by actually taking the time to go through and do the problem again, by putting your answer in, that is helpful. That is why it's so important for us to take our time. Remember, I can see how long you take. There's no reason that you should be taking less than 10 minutes to take this quiz. Because if you're taking less than 10 minutes, that's less than a minute per question. And even I, when I was doing this quiz and double checking, took at least a minute per question to annotate it. So we need to take our time to check. And finally, similar to last week, people were not taking time, hence the reason time was our second one, to just stop and think about their answer. Like, does it make sense? For example, this was one of your questions on your quiz. The picture shows how many inches the fish swam in 1 second. Yeah, that's a fast fish. Here's the thing. The most common answer was 5. 5. That means you'd think that the fish swam 5 inches in 1 second. This was my reaction to that answer. What? Where? Where are you getting 5 from? There's no 5 inches on my number line. I'm looking, right? I see 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. Where's 4 and 5? How could the answer be 5 inches? Now, for those of us who put 5, you're probably like, well, Ms. Cupp, like it's because I counted. I know where you got tricked up. I understand. The reason a lot of us said 5 was because we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You counted the spaces until the dot. Great job. You counted correctly, but we didn't stop to think. If I put a 5 in here, you are telling me the answer is the fish swam 5 inches. 5 inches ain't even on our number line. So yeah, you did the procedure correctly. You correctly counted, and I'm proud of you for that. But we got to be stopping to think about our answers, my friend. We got to be thinking, okay, does my answer make sense in the context of the problem? I got to go back and read it. The picture shows how many inches the fish swam in 1 second. Enter the number of inches the fish swam. Okay, if I put 5 in here, did the fish swim 5 inches? No, it did not. Because y'all forgot to tell me the denominator here. The denominator is how many inches in, or how many pieces in one hole, right? That's here. There are 1, 2, 3 pieces in one hole. So 3 goes in our denominator. So when you're counting, you're not counting by ones, you're counting by thirds. So you should have counted and said, I'll do it in pink again, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3. Because when we count by thirds, then when we know the 5 goes over top of the denominator with 3. 5/3 right here is very different than 5 wholes. 5 holes would be another like 1, 2, 3. Here's where 4 holes would be. 1, 2, 3. Here, 5. I would have to move my video. 5 would be right here. Did the fish swim that fast? No. So we got to make sure that we are stopping and we are thinking about our answer. That is why I think we need to be reviewing a little bit, because we just didn't stop and think. So reminder, the reason we have our steps to success, the reason we have these is because they are helpful. They will help you be successful. So please make sure you annotate the question. Then you find the denominator. That would have helped our friends who found the numerator, and then they're like, oh yes, the answer is 5 inches. Find your denominator first, you silly gooses. So that way, when you count to find the numerator, you're counting by the fraction instead of just counting the spaces. You silly gooses. And then finally, double check, reread the question. Does it make sense? Does your answer make sense? Put it back in. This will help us be successful. It's just when I know that you guys can do it and you can follow these steps, just like you would in the classroom, that's why when I see quiz results like that, I'm like, oh my goodness, I know my kids can do better than that. So we are going to get back to some fraction basics today. I promise you we would do some origami. We definitely will. And we're actually going to use the art of paper folding to help us sort of get better at self-checking our answers. Because a lot of us were putting in answers where I was like, they know what 1/2 looks like, and they know what they just told me is 1/2 is not correct. So we need to make sure that we understand like the sizes of fractions, which we will be doing today.